Blind Ace, and welcome to the sim racing office. We are no longer in the closet, so I finally moved the desk out since we cleared out the one bedroom in our apartment and we converted the living area into more of like a studio apartment. And now we both have our office spaces right here in the what used to be our bedroom. So move stuff around. I've just finished putting everything together on my desk, and now I need to figure out mounting all the stuff on the walls right here. So that's why I've got blank walls, and I don't have my decorations up. They're all piled up right here in the corner. But I came with an update on the sim setup, so let's get into that. All right, so like the last video, I mentioned that I got the CSL DD 8mm kit, the bundle. So I got the wheelbase, the pedals, and I also got this piece of shit right here. Enough on that wheel. So also the load cell brake wasn't that great. The feel is way too stiff. There's zero travel on it for anything usable. Even after I did this setup with way more screws than necessary to make it stay put on the carpet, I'm able to use the max force on the load cell before making this setup budge at all. And I didn't need to get a whole rig. It still only moved about like half an inch total. Now I finally get a good amount of range after installing a spring on there. So I will go over that in a bit. Now on to the thing I'm most excited about showing off. Alright, so right here we got the new setup for the wheel. Starting off with the quick release right here. This is a quick release with a built-in emulator from SRM Sim Racing Motorsports. It's pretty pricey for just being a quick release if you're looking at it that way. It's about $100 or $110 for this, but it comes with the emulator inside of it. That way it plugs into the Fanatec wheelbase and it emulates as a CSL podium or CSL formula wheel. It pops up as a formula wheel. And it gives you force feedback, because otherwise if the wheelbase doesn't recognize a wheel plugged in, then it doesn't give you any force feedback at all. So next thing up from there, bolted up to the quick release, we have this button box right here from a user. I'll pull up the name. So it's the button box made by KOPIKOA, K or KOPIKOAK007. The This person sells their wheel on Alibaba or one of those like sketchy websites. So I didn't want to buy from there directly. Thankfully, SRM has a listing where they buy from the person directly, and then they keep them in stock in the UK. And it's not much more. I think it was like 10 euros more than what the person wants originally. And SRM isn't really profiting at all from stocking them, because the $10 goes to the packaging that they go into, or the €10 go into the packaging and storage and all that stuff. So that's the button box on here, and then I have my trusty Nardi that I've had for so long now, and it used to be mounted on my G920. So now I have that mounted onto an adapter, because the quick release and the button box have a 6x70 millimeter bolt pattern, and the Nardi has a 74 millimeter PCD, 6x74 millimeter, so it doesn't match up at all. So I had to get this little adapter to bolt everything together. The only other quirky thing about it is that with the setup, the quick release doesn't really line up to 0 degrees. It's off to the right a little bit, but that's not really an issue at all. You could just recenter the wheel with the calibration on the Fanatec software. And also the paddle shifters are quite a reach. You can see that this is pretty far, and I have the other paddle shifter taken off because I'm figuring out a solution for that. I have this off over here. So what I'm gonna do, the idea that I have in my head is getting longer hardware right here. These are, I'm pretty sure it's 0.5, so it's like M2 by 0.5 for the screw. And I'm gonna get longer ones, maybe 30 millimeter, 40 millimeter long, and grabbing some kind of tube spacer or insert so I could slip it over the bolt as a sleeve over the screw and then bolt it onto the wheel right here. And hopefully that gives me enough of a gap and brings the paddle shifter forward enough right there to make it an easier reach. Because if I have it right there, that would make it like right here. If I grab like a 30 millimeter spacer for that, and then use the paddle shifter right there, that's a lot more comfortable. So yeah, that's the wheel setup. The final thing also is that it uses a USB cable. Since it doesn't have any Bluetooth and it doesn't connect through the emulator, which is something that I might work on figuring out. I need to figure out what the communication protocol is from the PCB on the emulator slash a wheel, like how it would normally communicate with the wheelbase. I need to figure out what that communication is, like what SRM figured out to make the emulator essentially, and then figure out a way to transfer that communication with the 4-wire USB communication. That way it could essentially just send all of the information through the emulator and not have to have a wire hooked up, because otherwise this plugs in right here and it screws on to make it secure. Then I have a USB plug that I plug into an extender. That I have right here. But I don't currently have it plugged in permanently because I don't have the extra USB ports. So as you can see back here, I have a USB hub, powered USB hub that's currently full because I have my Logitech camera at the rear. My mic is the second one. The third one is my shifter. It's the Arduino that's connected to the shifter is connected to, and then the Arduino is connected to that third port, and then the fourth port is the pedals. Because the RJ12 cable that came with the pedals from Fanatec isn't long enough for my setup, since I'm set up on a desk. I already ordered a longer 10-foot RJ12 cable that should be long enough to be able to plug in the pedals directly to the wheelbase over here. That way I open up that one USB port and then I could just have that extender cable connected permanently, essentially, all the way out here to the wheelbase. And then I just have to plug and unplug this USB whenever I take the wheel on and off. But that's it. All right, so in conclusion, I am finally happy with the setup. Aside from the things that I already have coming in the mail and the paddle shift replacement, but I'm happy with the wheelbase. It's basically at the limit of what my desk can take. The desk is super sturdy. This thing weighs like 40 or 50 pounds, so it doesn't move at all. The clamp is, there's more to be desired right there. It has a lot of flex with the way the screws clamped down on the desk. So I might be getting rid of that and making my own in the future, or seeing if there's any other options besides the table clamp from Fanatec, because this thing is maybe like a 7 out of 10. What else? So this video is SRM appreciation video. It's not sponsored in any way. I paid for all this stuff full price directly, and I waited normal times for everything. But if SRM would like to sponsor the channel, I would not say no. So Simon, if you see this, hopefully you see it, but you put out great product, and I'm very happy with this stuff as it is. Aside from that, I am mostly proud and glad that I did all of this without giving a single dime on top of what I already paid for the CSL DD Ready to Race bundle and the load cell pedal. Like, I did all of this without giving a single dime more to Fanatec or Fnatic. I'm never going to be supporting their company ever again. I would return the wheel, but I don't want to wait several months for refund process or even deal with their customer support. So I'm just going to be keeping it. It's okay. It's a servo step motor that works just fine. If I ever need to rebuild it, I'll figure out what the bearing sizes are. Sizes on the magnets, etc. are internally. I'll figure that stuff out, just as I've figured everything else out before in my life. Low cell pedal now feels amazing with the spring in it. I ended up keeping the rubber bushings, like half of the rubber bushings at the bottom, like this channel right here. I'll insert the screenshot from their video. I ended up getting the recommendation from this video specifically because not a lot of people put actual springs in the load cell as a replacement. They'll go for another softer bushing, but the problem with bushings is that they set over time. A spring sets as well, but it takes several years for that to happen and several depressions for it to happen. Rubber elastomer, that thing happens to it much more quickly. For example, like I used to longboard, and I would have to replace the bushings on my trucks about every 6 months. So I would expect the same with your sim setup. If you're driving this thing regularly, you're replacing your bushings every 6 months, because otherwise they'll be setting and your brake feel, pressure, travel distance will never be fully the same. So either replace your bushings regularly or just replace them with springs. I think that's it though. So thank you all for sticking around to this video to this point. I don't know what I have lined up as far as further content. I haven't been doing many more leagues or series in old school AC. What I have been working on is my safety rating on ACC, so I could get into low fuel motorsports there. I haven't actually touched low fuel motorsports on old school AC yet, which is something that I should do. Now that I actually have a working brake pedal that I'm consistent with, might be doing that this weekend. So, catch y'all next time.
I've been turning up for a long time. I've been smoking gas for a long time.